Rare equals fair. Deepwoken's worst design philosophy. Essentially the idea that just because an item is extremely rare or hard to obtain, it is allowed to be extremely powerful because less people have it by design. Or the item is hard to get, so to make it worth the effort, it's extremely powerful. However, many people disagree with this style of balancing rare exclusive items, and I am within that group of people. Along with that, my face reveal just dropped over at Raycon Live, and I'll be live with Facecam for the first time at twitch.tv/Reaconteur 20 minutes after this video goes out, so come check me out over there. And now let's get straight into it. Alright, so rare equals fair is an Agamatsu special philosophy, or Amagusto, that he's been a big part-time advocator of since before he was even a developer and the lead scripter and head of Deepwoken's development. Which, by the way, a little bit off topic, but a lot of people keep trying to tell me in the comments, Agamatsu's not the head of development, he doesn't do anything, he just talks for the developers. No, I'm like, I don't know how the fuck people are trying to tell me this. I talk to Agamatsu. I know what he does. He is the head of development and he is currently the lead scripter for Deepwoken, okay? But before he was the lead scripter and head of Deepwoken development, he was kind of nudging the devs to add certain rare things. I believe he's the reason why the Witherblade and the Fondant Splinter exist. I'm like 90% sure he gave devs at the time the idea to make the Dormant Splinter super rare and then make the obtainment of the two items through it via the Cold Forge super convoluted. But recently, Agamatsu did something a little bit fucked up in my opinion. So recently, he added a secret little ring to the game called the Ring of a Forgotten King. Now this item was gotten by Hambic, aka Salami0621, love ya, and he's another ex-Deepwoken YouTuber who occasionally streams Deepwoken, and he just happened to be super lucky to get this new red rarity item on stream without even trying. However, because he was streaming, the item was shown to hundreds of people who then spread it further, and Agamatsu realized it was actively being spread. Now initially, Amagusto wanted whoever got the ring to DM him, I guess, to activate it properly, because it was supposed to be a secret, as the ring seemingly did nothing, but since Hambic just happened to be streaming when he got it, the ring was removed from the game and replaced by the ring lost to time. And according to Agamatsu in the Deepwoken creators Discord, the ring literally did nothing anyway, which means in order for it to be activated, you probably had to have Agamatsu activate it for you. But because the ring was leaked and he voided it, which is kind of fucked up, because Hambic got it and it was just super rare, and he just got it voided because he happened to be streaming when he got it, and because of that, he was unable to actually use it or find out what it does. And there's a chance that this doesn't even get re-added to the game because of the purposeful secrecy behind it. And even if it does, he still lost the ultra rare item he got because he just happened to be live when he got it. Now, this particular situation is pretty fucked, but that's not just why rare equals fair isn't fair, but also because of the disparity it causes between players. Just because something is rare does not mean it can be super overpowered. That doesn't make it balanced for a lot of reasons. First of all, assuming that your game doesn't die right after it comes out, it will in time become progressively less rare, with thousands of people hunting for it, or not even hunting for it and just getting lucky. It then enters the trading pool as long as it is a tradable item, and if it's not, then you just increase the biggest problem with super rare obtainable items being crazy strong. Those who have them are those with the most time in the game, who will spend hours grinding for an item to use as long as it's unfairly balanced. You are giving the biggest no lives in the entire game in your community an even bigger advantage than they already have, just because they play the game so much. The people who are spending hours no-lifing Deepwoken don't need an even bigger advantage over players who don't play as often, because naturally they're going to be better at the game. If you make a super rare item super strong, that just makes it so the best players get it, and now they have an even bigger advantage over those who do not. It's just stupid. And then, even if it becomes common, it just dominates the meta, and now we have an unhealthy game anyway where everyone's using the exact same weapon. If items are rare, it should also just be with purpose. The Witherblade and Fondant Splinter, for example, aren't really important. They're supposed to be connected to the King of Etria, but they don't do a good job of displaying any new lore we don't already have through either books or developer statements. And then you guys add in the Cold Forge a week later for it to be forgotten after 2 uses. The Warmonger is really rare, but it's at least fun and unique, unlike the Witherblade. However, it only really exists for War Mode and has no significance other than to be rare and strong to spice up War Mode. I mean, I guess you can use it outside of War Mode, but that's not really the point when it was kind of created for War Mode. If the weapon had some significant lore, it'd be cool, but so far every example of rare equals fair in Deepwoken has been basically for no reason other than the developers kind of just want to cause intrigue, and the reason why the new stuff is so rare is so they can keep up with player retention. Like genuinely, if the Dormant Splinter were both fully implemented and not super rare on update, it would have been not interesting at all actually. The Dormant Splinter came out before they even added the crafting recipes for it, and then they added them like a week later to try and keep the mystery up. The update was not nearly as interesting as the developers wanted people to think it was, and it essentially provided nothing. Nothing changed. New weapon, it's pretty strong, it's nerfed a week later, irrelevant. And this is usually the case. Rare equals fair isn't really a design philosophy based on game balancing like many people think it is, and wrongly confuse it for, but it makes sense too, because because, I mean, sometimes it's kind of hard to understand what Agamatsu or Amagusto is thinking in there. It's like his head is split into two people, being Agamatsu and Amagusto, right? But I don't think Agamatsu thinks that making super rare overpowered drops are fair, because they're balanced, right? Because they're not balanced. I think it's just a retention trick. The problem is, I think it's a bad one. They drop something super rare and intriguing and cool, but the problem with that is, while it's a trick to get people to play for longer and farm the new super cool rare item, the only people farming for it are people who already know life the game. Deepwoken is in a pretty weak place right now player-wise, and yet you guys choose to introduce little bullshit attention grabby updates like that now? Terrible idea. This goes back to when they're like making too many legendaries with too many criticals, like the Isli's Pirate Keeper and stuff like that, and people hated those. And I get that some people even think that they shouldn't release across the boundary because of the state Deepwoken is in. Well, like, they even know what they're talking about when they say that. But I completely disagree. I think bringing back players should be done, but the problem is the size of the development team. Across the boundary is important, but so is anti-cheat and balancing. The difference is one brings players in and the other doesn't. Anti-cheat is just not very profitable to work on, and it sucks, but it's true. And while they work on the big updates, they gotta hold on to players somehow. Rare was never seen as fair. I think a lot of people misinterpret that. I don't think Agamatsu ever even said that rare items made them fair, but nobody wants weak items. If something is balanced on release, people won't be particularly drawn to it now, will they? People want game-breaking, meta-defining, broken weapons because they're easy to use. Bad at the game? Use the newest broken weapon to boost your chime elo and get that sweet dopamine hit, or just clip people and pretend like you're good at the game. Good at the game, but not quite Godseeker? This could be the boost you need to get there. So you want it, but you can't get it so easily because of how rare it is, so you spend hours and days trying to get it, and then spend days longer to use it before it's nerfed, and you repeat the cycle with the next rare legendary weapon that they added to the game. Rare isn't fair, it's just what keeps you in the game for longer, and that's exactly why I think the devs have been making rare items even before Agamatsu became the lead developer. They knew it was a good way to stall for longer, and therefore chose to make those items rare, so everyone, you know, hates to see. They knew it was a good way to stall for longer, and therefore chose to make those rare items everyone hates to see. They didn't really care if the community was complaining they were adding too many rare legendary items, because, you know, the community was still playing the game back then. But that was when the game had 20,000 concurrent players on an off day. Now, the game is kinda lucky to be around 5,000 to 6,000 players on a good day, actually. On an off day, and during certain times of the day, you could see Deepwoken hit like 2,000-3,000 players, which is really low. And the game used to average like, what, 20,000? And then on highs, it would average 30,000 to 40,000, and then all-time peaks were 60,000 to 70,000. The game's fallen quite a long way from its peak, being down like 90 to 95% of its peak players. And it's really just because the developers refuse to add early game, mid game content, or just things that matter, because we haven't had an update that actually mattered in so long. The last one that really mattered was Titus, and then before that it was Layer 2 actually. Like, every update between those two hasn't really mattered. I guess you could say like there was Titus and then the Central Authority, that mattered too. But what mattered before that wasn't Layer 2? Diluvian Mechanism? No, that didn't matter. None of the stuff that they've introduced really mattered. I guess Valve Iron did, because it was like a whole new game kinda, but that one's not really bringing in players or, you know, keeping current players, because nobody really cares about it, and they didn't update it like they were supposed to back in January. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Bit of a shorter one, and little disclaimer, my face will rarely, if ever, be seen on this channel. I enjoy streaming whatever I want and making the live channel videos more. Not that I don't enjoy making these videos, because if I hated it, I'd just quit. But I feel like the fans who enjoy me for me are the ones who deserve to see me. Lots of people watch these videos but don't really watch it for me, and more so watch it for the content of the videos, so I reward those who watch the live channel and my streams by letting them see my face and all that. Along with that, new song cover dropping for YouTube members soon, so buy any tier membership, even the lowest, to get access to my monthly song covers, and shout out to my members of tier 2 or higher: Philip, Akio, Sugikuni, Zerksky, Fun Guns, Crypto, Broccoli, Delusional Mo, Suited Wendigo, Love You, Mwah, Freshy, Theo Spanners, Corin, Captain Frost, Jaywa, and Drizzy Drake Fan. I love you all, have an amazing day, hope you enjoyed the video, check out my live channel and Twitch, and goodbye.